G'day guys, another Outdoor King video here. Today we're diagnosing this Victa powertorque 2-stroke. It's a common complaint that the engine over revs. So I'm just going to go through quite a simple process of nutting this problem out. Most of the time over revving is due to an air leak somewhere in the system making the fuel mixture go lean. So I'll just try and demonstrate this now. This one isn't too bad, but it does over rev. It also has a problem with hard starting, but we'll sort that out in another video with a carburetor clean. So there we have it. It revs quite hard when it's on open full throttle like that, and it has no effect really back to idle. It is slightly noticeable, but not a lot happens. So let's check for an air leak. First thing we'll need to do is take off this top cover here, which is 3 Phillips head screws. In this case, one's missing. Fuel hose. Some might have different cowlings, have more or less screws, but underneath it all be the same engine. So, got down to here, these optics to get out of the road. Now, just grab this camera. Now there's 3 O-rings I check when I'm looking for an air leak. There's one under the starter here. I don't have that on hand at the moment, we'll pull it apart anyway to have a look. Got a delivery coming shortly. There's one where the manifold here goes to the engine, and there's one here between the manifold and the carby. Alright, we'll do this first. I'll just put the camera back on the stand. So take this carb off. Don't need to take it all the way away from the engine, so we don't need to disconnect everything. But I will take this air hose off. There's one down at the back there. Leave the hoses on the carb. When you put it back on, they'll fall into place where they're supposed to go. Then you won't get them mixed up. So just sort of sit off out of the way there. Just watch your ignition kill wires. So, just grab my stumpy screwdriver in a second to get this second manifold screw out. Okay. Now these seals have been leaking a little, so you can see moisture around the manifold to block, and there is moisture coming past this O-ring here, and there might be an issue with it. See what happens. Sometimes these can even stump the best of us, but at the end of the day, if you don't give up, you get there. Now, no O-ring at all on that. Might be some of our problem, I'm not going to say all. And on here, this O-ring's just pretty much flat with the rest of the manifolds, so that won't be sealing very well at all. Hang on, there's remnants of the original O-ring that goes into the manifold. It's quite stuffed as well. Okay. sake of a couple bucks. New O-rings. First, I'll just go and grab a bit of cloth, clean out all the grass and debris that's built up down in here. So we've got our manifold here, no O-rings on it. Now the bigger O-ring goes on this groove here, this little one goes on this little groove here. A simple matter of just stretching them on there. It'll be quite a tight fit, and as you can see, new O-ring just sits proud of that gap, so it'll give us a good seal. And same matter there. It's just a matter of screwing it back on. Will be a little bit tighter to refit in there, but it should just push straight in. It screws up nice and firm, like so. Just enough so that they won't rattle loose. You don't need to crank them down. Also, another thing worth checking is this little poppet valve here. Has 3 mixture settings, and this is sort of in the middle of between 2 at the moment. It is supposed to be set to C, where the C points at the primer cap. There's a little groove in here, so I'll just turn that around so the C faces that. Okay, and it's back together again. Just a simple matter of clicking it on like that. You tip the primer cap facing down till the bayonet slides on, and then you, there we go, reconnect the lines. Now, onto the starter. I'll have to go and grab a socket for that. So, to check the starter seal now, I've got my 12mm socket. My newer ones, they're 11mm I think. This bolt's already loose, so I didn't even have to crack that, so it'll be interesting to see if we've got a leak on it. Is this one not? Oh, that one's tight. There we go. And that one's tight as well, so it was loose on one. Let's just see what happens, And the starter will just simply come up like that. Careful not to drop shit into the crankcase. And we've got one very filthy gasket, O-ring, whatever you want to call it. And I'm almost prepared to say that this engine's just about scrap. But I'll show why in a second. We'll see if we can get it running alright though. Get it running alright, I'll use it for a little while before I just put a new block on this mower. Okay, so I'm just looking at this mower with the starter removed, and in the crankcase it should be nice and clean. This is actually an alloy conrod too. For some reason the rings have been leaking quite severely. So that is quite burnt and carboned up. The bearings are alright. The skirt of the piston looks alright. Interesting, check that out at some stage. Anyhow, the purpose of this video, we're only looking for an air leak to get it revless, so it won't be a problem for us. Now, just one thing, this mower was run without an air cleaner for quite some time because it's got all this grass and crap inside of the crankcase. Not nice. I'm not saying it should be pristinely clean, but there shouldn't be large clumps of seed and stuff that I can see floating around in there. Anywho, we'll try another gasket on this starter, O-ring, and give it a burl. So I've got the new O-ring on the starter. It's a matter of stretching it back on. There's sometimes a lip, sometimes you just got to push it all the way out. Tighten it back down. Bit of a disappointment about the damage inside the crankcase there, but worst case, I'll use this as a good source of parts. Don't want these overly tight. It's enough to make sure they're not going to rattle loose. Beautiful. Okay, refit this tank in a second and put some fresh fuel in it instead of that stale stuff. Putting the cowling back on. Plastic it first. Sits in nice and flat like that. Then fuel tank. Snap the hose. Put some fresh fuel in, see what happens. Oh, it mightn't run perfectly. I do suspect it'll run a lot better than it did. Quite long screws. So, turn the fuel on, straighten the tap up. Give it a few seconds, you just got to wait for this fuel bowl to fill up. Oh, it's got a crack in that too, we'll replace that when it comes to cleaning the carb. A bit of a fuel leak too. Alright, throttle's on run. We'll see if we can get it to fire. As you can see, it does still need a bit of work. It's got a bit of a fuel leak from the fuel tap. Prime cap's a bit buggered, but it starts easily now, and it has still a little bit fast, but I'll discuss that in the carburetor clean. Otherwise, it's making a couple of dollars. It's running a lot better. Thanks for watching. So in the next video we'll be looking at completely cleaning and rebuilding this carb. We'll do it on this mower, but as a separate video on another mower diagnosing spark problems. This hasn't got spark problems, just needs a new boot put on there. There will be other videos of, I might do a new one of replacing the starter cord and just other general maintenance. Thank you for watching.